Hi, everybody. Jeff Slakey here from the Alderbrook Resort for the Affordable Workforce Housing Summit, Thursday, January 3rd, put on by Peninsula Credit Union and other great organizations around the community. I'm now sitting with Cheryl Fambles, the Chief Executive for the Pac-Mountain Workforce Development Council. Hi, Cheryl. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you very much.
Thanks for being a part of this today.
Oh, delighted. This is going to be a great conversation.
I want to talk a little bit about the Mason County makeup of the workforce, the demographics, the age of income, the age of education, the age range, and income as well. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes. Well, you know, it's terrific to be invited to a conversation. Most folks do not think about workforce development professionals as being necessarily important for this kind of conversation because they see us mostly as developing the workforce, making sure that people have skills, making sure that they are have the kind of work ethic that's necessary to be successful, and then also making sure that businesses are able to find that talent. But there's really a third prong there, which is how does the community get involved in this dialogue between those two entities? And we find community character, transportation, housing, and childcare as being really important to the workforce. So I'm glad to be part of this conversation, and what we're bringing is some information about the demographics of the region. You find in Mason County, now we're a 5-county agency, so I'm often doing a comparison between other of our 4 counties. What you find in Mason County is that it is a county who currently your unemployment rate is relatively low. That follows a national trend. You also see that it's an urbanizing county. More people are moving in, although the folks that are moving in are not what we would call homegrown. They're actually coming in to the area from somewhere else, so they weren't birthed here and are homegrown, as you might understand. In terms of educational attainment, you find the region lacking a little bit in what we consider advanced post-secondary degrees, and we compare that with the state and the national, and so Mason County is behind in that percentage of the workforce that have those advanced degrees, but you're ahead of the state and national with what we would consider after high school, post-secondary, or 2-year degrees.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We talk, and people talk openly about the exodus, if you will, daily.
Yes.
Lots of people head north to Bremerton. Lots of people also head to Thurston to work at the Capitol and in Olympia. How are those types of issues impacting the economic development of Mason County specifically?
Yes, and some of that is how you choose to look at that.
Okay.
So definitely as people are leaving, they exit to go to work, and that is an indication that there perhaps is not adequate opportunity here in the region, and that's something we talk with our chamber partners and our economic development partners about, because business and industry, you know, wants to be places where there is talent, but talent needs to be places where there is business and industry. It's true, however, that the folks leaving out are coming back with paychecks that are higher than the folks that are staying here in the region. So they're bringing money back into the county in a higher proportionality than used to be. And in the last 20 years, we've seen a pretty remarkable jump in that.
We do also see a fair number of people that come into work to the Shelton area, the only incorporated city in the county, and other portions on a daily basis. And is that because of the lack of the type of housing we're talking about today, affordable workforce housing, where they need to look outside of Mason County, or are there different factors?
You know, I think it's a combination. In trying to understand what kind of housing is going to be needed, this is one of the pieces that I want to bring, which is that the mix that's here, if you think about the folks that are aging and they are elders in the workforce, not necessarily have left yet, but perhaps they have big houses now. What are they going to do as they get to retirement? How could we shift that? And when you think about the folks coming in, young people who come in, where do they want to live? What do they want? And that's that kind of housing mix. So certainly trying to find housing is an issue, but the type of housing is equally important. And that's one of the things that I want to talk about today.
Does affordable workforce housing bring jobs, or do jobs bring affordable workforce housing?
Yes.
Very good.
Yes, it's an iterative process. It's the same question that we get into. Does business follow industry, or does business follow the talent, or does the talent follow the businesses? And it's really hard to differentiate. It's the chicken and the egg question. We won't go there. What we're trying to do is to make sure that everyone who wants a job, who wants to live in Mason County, could afford to do that, and that they can be contributors in this county and not have to go somewhere else, either with their paychecks or with their daily lives in terms of how they invest their time.
You hear a lot from the business community, also citizenry across the 5 counties. What are some things, overarching themes, that you perhaps will take to state legislature or city, county governments in the next year to say things need to happen, things need to change, and here are some of our ideas?
Yes. I think it's an important, this type of a conversation is important. As I said, that stool that has who are the labor force, what can they do, what do they want to do, what is business and industry, and then what are the communities doing to make it a great place to do business and a great place to live and work. So how do we get more affordable workforce housing? How can we afford to do that? How can the folks that do permitting, how can they come to understand what's needed, how quickly it needs to happen? Those costs are, I mean, these are economic decisions. It certainly adds to the cultural milieu and the capabilities of this community to be strong and vibrant, but these are economic decisions. And so as developers are looking at this question, they're saying, you know, can I afford to build this kind of housing here in this region? And so we're hoping that the answer to that will be yes, because I think there's a demand for it. There's a absolute, people want to live here. I think you'll attract more younger, interested, you know, investing in the community kinds of individuals when you have that kind of housing.
Are there, in the different 4 other counties in the Pac-Mountain workforce, are there other counties that have differences when it comes to the permitting process that you've seen work better in those counties that maybe could be applied here into the county?
I'm not really familiar with those kinds of governmental permitting processes. This is something that's relatively new for, you know, workforce professionals to be called to the table to examine what is the data telling us, how does that impact the workforce, how does the workforce look at these issues. So we're relatively new in this. I think Thurston County has begun those kinds of conversations. They're a tiny bit ahead, but Mason County is not that far behind. And I think that some of that is because you are more urbanizing. If you think about Lewis County and that big spread of open land there in East Lewis County, that's a harder set of decisions about how do you build, what do you build there, and who will come there. But their downtown area, they're going to start looking at those same kinds of things. What is the housing mix, and how do we make sure that we can get to that mix?
Cheryl Fambles is the Chief Executive for the Pac-Mountain Workforce Development Council. Thank you so much for talking with me.
Thank you very much.